Welcome to the Utah Football Fans Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, go Utes.
College football playoff.
The big news.
So,
we're just starting.
Yes, yeah,
we're not going to bury the lead at all.
No, we're going to start there.
we're going right at that. So, what do you good? You good with it? Bad with it? Okay with it? What do you think, James?
Man, you're just going to go right at me, huh?
Bryn? No, James, you got right up, man. We're just going to riff this, baby. We're riffing it.
How you feel?
They got it right.
Interesting.
Look, I'm just going to preface it with this. I hate Alabama as much as anyone who's ever listened to this podcast knows my disdain for Alabama, right? There's no question about it. You cannot sit here and tell me that Florida State is one of the top 4 teams right now in the country. I'm just going to start with that, okay? I understand it's so subjective, right? Who's the best team? Who's most deserving? All of it is so subjective. They go undefeated. They do everything they're supposed to do. You have to understand this whole thing, it's a made-for-TV production. Let's be really honest with it. It's all about money and ratings, and then it's the best team, okay? So it's who's going to bring the most money, who's going to bring the most ratings, and then it's, okay, who are the best teams? I watched every single championship game, from the Pac-12 to the SEC, the ACC. Big 12. Man, Texas looked
We watched that.
phenomenal, by the way. All the way down to that last game. I turned off the Michigan game because Iowa. Oh, woof. The ACC championship game was the worst out of all of them. The matchup was terrible. Now, I will say Florida State's defense, phenomenal. Probably one of the best defenses in the country. But without Jordan Travis, they are not a playoff team, period. If he stays healthy and they do what they do, and then they get left out, I'm screaming from the rooftops, okay? But it sucks. I feel bad for them. They're not a top 4 team, period.
All right, Bryn.
I have gone back and forth with this so many times, even like leading up to it. And then since it happened on Sunday, I find myself being really annoyed with how it all went down, though. Mm-hmm. The system's so broken. It's so broken. I think Florida State got screwed. I think this is my theory. TCU ruined it for Florida State this year.
I can get on board.
The reason I say that is because last year, TCU, they kind of like took a chance on TCU, put them in. They squeaked by a win in the first round, got just destroyed in the championship game. And what happened? Everyone turned off their TV. It's exactly what you just said. Everyone turned off the TV. We did. I didn't care about seeing a team get beat by 60 points. And so I think that's lingering in their heads, that they don't want that to happen again. And look, I want to watch amazing football games. There were awesome games on Saturday and on Friday. I want that kind of caliber game. But leaving them out, what is the point of the regular season? What's the point? What is the point of playing? If you're going to play and you're going to beat every single team, I get it. They have injuries. They're not the same team now, blah, 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 blah. I understand. But what's the point then of playing?
Win your conference.
Which they did.
Number 1. And then get into the CFP.
Right. So based on that, to me, it should have been Michigan, Washington, Florida State, the 3 undefeateds. And then you go to the next conference champion. And if there's a head-to-head that they played each other, it should be the one that won. I get that that's never going to happen in a million years, but that's what it should be.
Okay.
So then it should have been Texas.
Now the truth.
Oh, God. No, I'm right.
Let's see if he agrees with me. I'm right. I know I'm right because you know how I know I'm right?
Okay.
Clapp
Look,
said the exact same thing as I said. So,
well, I don't think there's a right or wrong on it. Let me say that right now, because you have, and this year is unique because we had so many undefeated and one-loss teams, which were really good teams. So they were in a tough spot. And what you have, see, this is the insanity of it. You have 4 spots and 5 Power 5
conferences.
I know.
And there's no rule that says that, at least that I'm aware of.
There's not.
There's no rule that says the conference champion is an automatic.
No.
So this year, it's never been like this. Like last year, TCU had 1 loss, but the problem, like Alabama, they had 2 losses.
Yeah.
I think other teams did. So when they lost, it was at Kansas State.
in the Big 12.
The
Okay,
championship.
they still got in because they then only had the 1 loss. The others had 2 losses. That was their
That's the argument.
That wouldn't have flown this year.
No, because Georgia had the exact same scenario, and they got booted.
I just think it's an impossible situation because, I mean, yeah, Florida State, I guess they got screwed. I don't know. I agree with you. Do I think they're better than the others in front of them? I don't. They don't have an offense. Period. That's just the way it is. I know they won it. But for me, it's like, I think Georgia
Yes.
has an argument as much as Florida State
I think they have a big
has an argument. Now, I get that they weren't undefeated, but they lost in the championship game. They haven't lost a game in 3 years. That was it. And I get those were other years. I get it. This is a new year. And everyone's going to say they had an easy schedule. Well, you know what? Georgia, they got beat by Alabama. So
You're right.
So Georgia, I'm good with Michigan should be there. Absolutely Washington.
I think Washington should be 1, by the way.
Texas, and they're looking good. I don't have a problem with Alabama. They beat Georgia, but honestly,
They looked good, too.
when you look down this list here, just go to 6, 7, and 8. Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon. You can't tell me that any of those teams couldn't be in the playoff and actually beat any of those other teams on that day.
Yeah.
They could. That's the difficulty of this situation. That's what I'm saying.
For me, I look at exactly that. I look up all the way to Oregon, and I say all of those teams, in my opinion, could beat Florida State as it sits right now. Now, Florida State is playing Georgia. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, well.
Prove me wrong, Florida State. I will happily eat my words. I would love nothing more than for Florida State to beat Georgia and go, okay, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm with you. I think if anybody has a gripe, it's Georgia. They went 29 straight games. Okay? Everyone is saying to me, Florida State beat 2 SEC teams, James. Georgia beat, 7 SEC teams? They lost 1 game in the championship by 3 points. So I think Georgia has a bigger gripe. I have no problem with what it is. I watched the games, and at this point of the season, those are the best 4 teams to me.
I think that's what Jesse said. Did you read the article? I can't remember what was that from.
I did read the
ESPN.
article. It's from ESPN.
I read it. And if I take that to be truth,
Thank
thank you,
you,
Mike. We
Texas
appreciate
Mike.
you.
Texas Mike, I love you, buddy.
They
You
basically
can clip
said,
that one too, by the way. Texas Mike, clip it. I love you, Texas Mike. There you go.
If I recall, they said that. They looked at what Florida State was right now, and basically that was one of the main reasons that they don't have they're on their 3rd string. I don't even know if their 2nd string will get back. Okay, to compare the other teams, I mean, come on. And then this is the part I just don't believe is the comments that they didn't look at conferences. They didn't think of the SEC. They were just looking at
They look at teams,
I don't believe that for
not
2 seconds. I don't
conferences.
think anybody in this chat thinks for 2 seconds. Could you imagine for 1 second that an SEC team, and even their champion, is left out of the college playoff? That's never going to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
And actually, honestly, it shouldn't happen.
Based on record, that's what should have happened.
Who would you have put in over Bama?
That's what I'm.
No.
That's what I said. Is
Florida
you do
State?
you do the undefeateds? It should be the undefeateds. If you're basing it on the regular season,
I want the best.
I know you
Teams.
do, but it drives me crazy. Every other sport, your playoff is based on your regular season, except college football. It is such a joke. The playoff is based on a bunch of dudes that sit in a room and supposedly they don't talk to each other. That's such bull crap.
And they're all like 85 years old.
That was part of
No,
that.
they're not.
Okay.
No, they're not. Like Mark Harlan's on the
I know,
committee.
but there's a picture of them in a room, and half of them are like,
Supposedly,
the Florida State game.
according to this
was
article,
so bad.
They don't discuss it with each other. They all just sit at their own little computer and make. And you think I'm buying that garbage? You think there's not outside forces in all of this? It's all about money. That's what pisses me off.
it's a TV show,
Okay,
guys.
but there's no going back on that now. This is where.
No, I know.
This is where we're at.
Florida State, I feel awful for. I feel horrible for Jordan Travis
Yes.
because I feel like he's put it all on himself. He
And his tweet was,
blames
Yeah,
himself.
I feel bad. I do feel bad. I'm not. Someone was saying that. I think it was Rose. I mean,
Rose.
Absolutely. I
Gutted.
yeah.
I feel sad for those players who, undefeated and they're left out. I could say that, I could actually say that about Georgia. I mean, it's ugly, man. It's a rough thing. But you got 4 slots. 4 slots. And think about it. If you're in that room, how are you going to, an eye test and records that go from September basically to December, the ebb and flow of it, how healthy is your team? I mean, look at Utah. Okay. What we started with to what we ended with. Can anybody say that the team that went up against Florida was the same team that beat Colorado with 10 throwing plays? No. See, that's the point. Is you have to take it all in context.
But that's why it should be based on record. You're not going into all these other factors.
Okay,
it's
but
not the.
But you're talking about you had Georgia
I
and
get it.
Alabama. Someone's got to lose.
Yeah, that's part of it. I feel like the conference championship, it's all so messy. It is what it is. We're here.
Okay, but here-
I hate it.
To your point, yes, every other league, it's all based off the regular season. But the problem there is the NFL has 32 teams.
Right.
Okay. The NHL has 32 teams. College football has 130 teams playing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it comes down to about 10 to 12 teams that can actually do something. Again, you have 5 Power 5 conferences for 4 slots. Now, someone said it in the chat. Who was it? XOXOB. I don't know who you are. Luckily, this won't happen next year. No, it is going to happen next year. It'll just be an argument of which 9-3 team should be in the playoffs.
And
Number 13, who gives a crap
is
at
going
that
to get
point?
screwed.
That's what happens in March Madness. You're number 65 and your team's all pissed off about it. Well, win more games.
Yeah, but see, the best part about March Madness is the underdog. It's the
For the first round.
the team that made it all the way to the championship last year, that Florida Atlantic team. Nobody counted them in it at all.
Bryn.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm just saying of course Georgia's number 1. Of course they're number 1. No one can ever beat Georgia. Well, guess what? They played a game. Alabama beat them. So everyone saying that they're number 1, guess what? They got beat. You got to let people play it on the field.
He just turned her down.
Dang.
That's the first time that's ever happened.
Deef.
I'm not yelling.
Really?
Here's the thing. Yes, everyone says now Florida State, they're not the underdog, right? Everyone says, especially in March Madness, that they want the underdog. It's a lot of fun for
There was no freaking underdog.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I always cheer for the
Okay, you
underdog.
cheer for it, but by the time the underdog makes the Final Four, the ratings plummet. Nobody watches it. And that's
I
what
don't
this
know that
whole
for sure.
It
That's
is.
not true.
Yes, I will show it to you after this.
Okay, I don't really care about
But
that.
my point is this. It's
They only turn it
It's
off
about the money.
if it's a bloodbath.
look at how they did this. They're not stupid. They took the 4 corners of the country.
No.
They played them against each other.
freaking
It's gonna be
conspiracy theorist here.
Yeah. And I'm right. It's all about the money, dude.
I was listening to Coach JB, and he goes, you know what? Some expletives thrown in there.
A few.
Why? Okay, this was the last year of this joke of a scenario.
It's so bad.
Okay, we're going to 12. I'm okay. I think most people are going to be good with that.
Okay.
Why couldn't the NCAA, why don't these guys, because it's a unique year because of the undefeated and one lost teams. It just is. And so being the last year, why did they just come in a room and say, you know what, guys, why don't we just go 6 teams?
Honestly.
I know. Why can't you
Why
do
can't-
that?
Have Washington and Michigan would get a bye, and then you would have Florida State and Georgia in, have those 2 teams play in, then you're down to the 4, then you have the championship. Boom!
Right, because you already have the bowl game.
No
you already
whining.
have the infrastructure.
Anyone
I
with
don't
a brain,
know. It's all
anybody
the,
with two brain cells could have been in that room and go, yeah, let's do that.
If they had done
Think of the
that,
dough.
there wouldn't have been one person that would have been opposed to it.
We'd all be loving it.
I would have gone crazy for that.
No, see, Gooberdew, you're wrong. That they wouldn't. It's not that they'd have to come up with a whole new game. They already have all these bowl games in place. So,
Play the potato
like
bowl.
you're
No one's
saying-
going to it anyway.
like you're saying, the 5th and 6th seed, just let them play in whatever bowl game Georgia and Florida State are playing in.
It could be worked out, and it would
It
be
could be.
packed, and the revenue that would come in.
Are you kidding? Yeah, think about it. If you had Michigan, Washington, Texas, Bama, Georgia, Florida State, I would watch every second.
And then all this
And then it
would be
funnels,
handled.
funnels,
But
funnels.
no,
Why don't you just put us in a room?
inflexible as can be.
I can solve it for you like that.
They should have done it.
Let's just
CFP.
pretend they're gonna kill him.
Florida State.
I think so. Again,
know,
it comes down who's gonna play.
They
I don't
will.
know.
I know Georgia will.
I'm
mean,
looking forward to the games, though. Let's go there.
But will Georgia see? This is what pisses me off now too. Will Georgia's players even play?
No.
Brock Bowers won't play.
Well, why would he?
Anyone going to the NFL is not going to play. Everyone's dropping out of playing. I can't stand this whole system now. The bowl games are a joke. They mean nothing. You want to get me really
Whoa.
fired up?
Okay, let's go here. Let's go here.
What are you drinking?
Oh, she is wound up.
Because
How many Red Bulls you've been downing?
mad. It pisses me off. The sport I love. It just like it comes down to the end of this year and then it just sucks.
All right.
No, I'm with you.
Let me just
I'm with
ask
you.
you
It
right now.
does.
Yeah, it does.
It sucks that this
They
is the
should have
argument.
adapted. Had some
They should have
brains, and it
the
could have been.
entire season funnels down to this giant crap fest that everyone's pissed off
To
about.
8 dudes in a room.
They could have gone with 6, and it's over.
Yeah.
6 is over. Everyone's happy. You go. You know what? This is a weird situation.
I think they did something like that. The COVID year was it? The COVID year, didn't they add
I don't think
a
so.
game or something? Yeah, I can't remember. There was something different than the normal. So they could adapt, but that's the problem with the NCAA. They suck.
I will say though, Florida State's D line.
I don't even think it's the NCAA though. It's this whole CFP.
They could have done it if they
I
had
know they
any-
could have. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everyone knows
Things-
it.
Is it Brittany? Where's the positivity chant, Bryn?
I don't. have
Careful,
any
Michael,
right
clip
now
it.
because it
Here we
makes
go.
me
Yeah,
so
Michael,
mad.
clip it. Okay,
It
let me just
sucks.
ask this. Right now, maybe this will change. Did you see the clip, by the way, of Michigan?
Yes.
So
Finding
they know they
out.
got the number 1 seed, and then they get to see who they're going to play, the number 4 team, and it was Alabama, and they kind of, oh,
And then,
yay. Dude, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
you know what? I don't know who I'm cheering for in that game.
What?
I mean, I'm going to cheer for Michigan, but this whole Michigan scandal thing through the whole season, the little slap on the wrist for Harbaugh.
Big deal, man.
Have I not said for weeks now that Michigan's going to win and then the NCAA is going to sanction them
I
and
hope.
take away their championship?
Just-
I've been saying it for weeks.
Just so Feinbaum melts.
Hey, what happened?
I want that. I want it.
Did Feinbaum say something today? People
know.
were saying they hated him.
What did he say?
Feinbaum
What did he
say?
say?
Maybe that's just a generic, like, we hate Feinbaum.
Well, that's probably true. 'cause
Oh,
we-
I'm sure he was thrilled because
Pencil neck
his,
Feinbaum, we
his
all hate.
Alabama team got in.
Him and Nick Saban.
Did he say something? I don't know.
I hate him. Me too, lanky boy. Hey, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, lanky,
Tall guy.
tall man.
Okay, what were you going to ask me?
Okay, what I'm asking is, people in the chat, what are you thinking? Alabama, Michigan. Who wins, you think, at this stage? I mean, we'll talk about it before it happens, but today,
What is today? The 4th?
December 4th.
I think
the way.
Bama gets him.
I actually think Bama wins.
Bama wins.
That's disgusting.
By the way, can we just let's just all blame Auburn for all of this, by the way. Because if Auburn doesn't let them score on a 4th and 31,
If they rush 4 guys, the game's over.
the game's over. Even if Alabama beats Georgia, doesn't matter. So this is all Auburn's fault.
It's all your fault.
Michigan Bama, Michigan, Bama.
Oh man, I would love Michigan to get them. I would. I know I joked,
Bama.
but
So that's the Rose Bowl.
Bama. Okay. What do
They
you?
play in the Rose Bowl.
So all right. Texas, Washington.
that game could be 65 to 55.
That could be one of the best college football games ever. Just for the potential of the offenses.
If Washington shows up like they did Friday night, I pick Washington.
yeah.
I'm going Washington.
Washington.
Put them
Go.
Longhorns down. Any Longhorns in here?
No, they don't care.
That's so offensive.
Are you going to
when
clip
you
that,
do
Mike? Hey, Mike, you clipping them Longhorns?
How weak are they that this gets into the point of like rage and they're like
Yeah.
gonna dox you? Don't do that
Oh, we don't need to be doxxed anymore.
Why not?
anymore.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, Gary thrives on it now.
Obviously, I'm going
Orange down, baby.
I'm going
Washington.
Washington. That
I need
offense. Oh,
So we're
well,
saying, I guess.
I'll be cheering loudly for the Huskies.
I don't own
did
any
you
purple.
pick Bama?
I didn't pick.
That's
No.
Bama.
Okay, Brand.
I don't.
She's the worst at this. Who invited her?
It's like I don't know who I think
that- oh, is it-
I don't want Bama more so. I want to punish them. Michigan.
Okay.
I mean, I want Michigan.
Just
Who wins the national championship? Who wins it? Who wins it?
Huskies.
I'm going Washington, baby.
Huskies!
Come on.
Please.
Alabama, Washington would be a cool final.
That would be a cool final.
Where is the national championship played this year? Anybody know?
Dang, it is.
That is a good question.
I don't know. I should have looked it up.
Go to that
Stupid.
It's
one.
right here. Houston. Their stadium.
Houston.
Houston. Yeah, everybody got it. I have such a hard time picking against Saban in this situation. I just
Oh, yeah.
I can't stand Bama, but the fact that they started the season so bad and everyone was like, "Oh, they're done." They lose to Texas and then just turn it on and don't lose again. And watching that SEC championship game,
I know.
they looked
Yeah, they were pretty.
really good.
It's the trenches.
Yes. They
The,
just
the
they
beef up front.
and they do not
Dude.
beat themselves. That's the thing. They don't beat themselves.
But here's what I'll say about Washington. Their offensive line are some
There's
beasts,
some dudes,
man.
There's some dudes. And I would love Washington, Bama. That would be so fun.